Welcome, I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, Acting Inspector General of Police Mohammed Adamu continues tour of Northwest to ramp up security across the state ravaged by armed banditry and kidnapping. Residents of Bagana and Patani communities in Kogi State flee their homes following attacks by suspected herdsmen. INEC releases schedule of activities for governorship election in Bayelsa and Kogi states, fixes November the 2nd, 2019 for conduct of a poll in both states. And Israel awaits results in close general election as exit polls suggest no clear winner.
On business news tonight, Nigeria's economy expected to grow by 2.1% this year as International Monetary Fund cuts global growth forecast.
And on sports news tonight, Liverpool and Tottenham Hotspur are in a first-leg advantage in the quarter-final of the UEFA Champions League.
And from Abuja, Economic Community of West African States seek stronger transnational justice mechanism to promote regional peace and security.
Security and the safety of lives, particularly in the Northwest, is a focal point in Nigeria at this time. Zamfara, Kaduna, Borno and Yobe states are all flashpoints where security operatives have been having sleepless nights, all in a bid to end the reign of armed bandits who have brought pain, tears and horror to residents of those states. The Acting Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, is spending his second night in the region. From Kaduna State on Monday to Zamfara and Sokoto State today, the police chief appears to have a huge task ahead of him. Now, the Air Force is also teaming up with the police with the deployment of more fighter jets to the states. And that's where we start off from tonight, as our first story captures just how the security threat in Nigeria's Northwest is being handled.
The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, lands in Gusau, Zamfara State capital, to continue his crusade against banditry and kidnapping in the Northwest state. He proceeds to the government house to meet with leaders of communities and religious bodies, where he repeats the objectives set by the president on clamping down on crime in the state.
Those things that are encouraging armed banditry in Zamfara state. The government has decided to suspend mining activities in Zamfara state and those other states within the northwestern part of this country, because we've discovered a relationship between the activities of the bandits and kidnappers with mining, and we have to deal with that squarely.
Representing the governor is the secretary to the state government, who says a lot of proactive measures have been put in place by the state to tackle the menace since it reared its head 4 years ago.
Since the crisis started, the governor, the government, and everyone indeed in the state, we have not been resting on our toes. A lot of steps have been taken. Conducting security meetings is one of them, and also coordinating various security functions in the state. We also facilitate in development of the state security architecture by improving on it. As at 2013, when the problem became imminent.
Bolstering the charge against bandits and kidnappers is the Air Force with its own, codename Operation Clean Forest. The Air Officer commanding Special Operation Command for the force says the goal is to provide the needed air support to flush out criminality.
The effort of the Nigerian Air Force here is to make sure that all these suspected locations of the bandits will be simultaneously pounded. This is to make sure that at least we dominate the airspace, thereby making it easier for our ground forces to go in and flush out these bandits that have been terrorizing our people.
The drive of the federal government to win the war against this new problem appears resolute. Hopefully, the results in the end will save lives and restore peace to the region.
Now, Katsina is one of the states facing security threats, especially with the tension in Kankara local government area, where 14 people were reportedly killed in a fierce battle between members of the vigilante group and armed bandits on Monday. The spokesperson of the police command in the state, Gambo Issa, explains that the incident happened when members of the vigilante group launched an attack on the bandits in their hideout, killing 7 of them, while 7 vigilante members were also killed in the attack. The police spokesperson asked members of the vigilante to always collaborate with security agencies whenever they have relevant information about the movement of bandits. Meanwhile, normalcy has returned to the community and citizens are going about their normal business. And there's a casualty figure now from last night's attack on armed bandits who stormed communities in Kajuru, local government area of Kaduna State. The police say at least 21 persons were killed in the attack when the bandits invaded the 2 communities on motorbikes, shot some of the villagers dead, rustled about 50 cows, and also burnt 10 houses. The State Police Command Public Relations Officer Yakubu Sabo says that a combined team of police mobile force personnel, conventional policemen, soldiers, and local vigilantes have been mobilized to the area. The police spokesperson also explained that efforts are on to apprehend the fleeing bandits. And if there's anyone more worried about the security challenges in the country, it's the Minister of Defense, Mansurudan Ali. The minister has issued a warning to all persons or group of persons conniving with bandits to commit crimes in the northwest to desist from doing so. A statement signed by the Defense Minister's spokesman, Colonel Tukuru Gusau, says the military is very concerned about the security challenges in Zamfara, Sokoto, Katsina and Kaduna states. A part of the statement reads, quote, "In spite of the concerted efforts of the armed forces and other security agencies, some unpatriotic persons, including highly placed traditional rulers in the areas, were identified as helping the bandits with intelligence to perpetrate their acts or to compromise military operations." End of quote. According to the statement, the military has been expanding its operations to meet the existing and new needs in the country. The minister explains that the army has established the 8th Division with headquarters in Sokoto to cover Kebbi, Sokoto, Katsina and Zamfara states, while the headquarters of 1 brigade was located from Sokoto to Gusau. The Nigerian Air Force has also established a quick response force in Gusau and landing areas in Gusau and Birnin Magaji, respectively. The minister gave the assurance that the armed forces of Nigeria, in partnership with other security agencies, will continue to protect lives and property of law-abiding citizens. Now, staying with security matters, and at this time in Ondo State, where security has been beefed up following Monday's deadly attack on a commercial bank by armed robbers. According to the Public Relations Officer of Ondo State Police Command, Femi Joseph, investigations are ongoing to apprehend the robbers, but one person suspected to be a member of the gang has already been arrested. Let's just take a break from security stories. Of course, we'll bring you more on security as the bulletin proceeds. Now, the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee investigating the activities of the National Pension Commission and alleged violations of PENCOM Act has accused the Commission of trying to frustrate its investigation. The chairman of the committee made this claim at the resumed hearing of the panel in the National Assembly. But the meeting took a different turn as the representative of the Pension Commission found it difficult to tell the panel the number of accounts the Commission operates with the Central Bank of Nigeria. Our correspondent Lanre Lasisi reports.
This is the resumed sitting of the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee investigating the activities of the National Pension Commission and alleged violations of the PENCOM Act. Present are representatives of the National Pension Commission, Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, the Central Bank of Nigeria, and some civil society organizations. The chairman of the committee laments the attitude of officials of the National Pension Commission.
We have written severally. We have written 10 times. I think that is enough. We have written 10 times on different issues. Submit this, submit this, submit this. Instead of submitting what we requested for, they'll be submitting to us something different.
The hearing, however, proceeds. The officials from the Pension Commission respond to an observation that remittances were not paid for 6 months.
Earlier, I said the monthly pension contributions have been up to date. No money is missing up to February 2019 for federal government employees.
He then explains that there is an arrears dating back to the old pension scheme, which the federal government should have paid.
We have the challenge because the amount that the Commission submits for appropriation in the last 4 years, the amount required have not been fully provided for.
The sitting, however, takes an interesting turn following this question from the chairman.
How many bank accounts do you operate with CBN? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10. How many?
I think it's about 3, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Do you know how many accounts you have with CBN? Do you know how many accounts you have with CBN? If you don't know, say so. If you know, tell us.
I don't know the exact number, but I know.
The acting DG also specified in her own submission, told us, said they have how many accounts? No, 1. But the central bank came and told us you have 5. Central bank told us that you have 5 accounts.
The meeting eventually progresses. The committee has urged officials of the Pencom Commission to ensure they submit relevant documents to the committee. Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
There is a need to assess the illicit drug abuse and trafficking laws of ECOWAS member states to bring stability to the region as the menace is on the rise, despite concerted efforts by ECOWAS member states. These remarks were made by speakers at the opening ceremony of the 12th Interministerial Drug Coordinating Committee meeting of ECOWAS member states and Mauritania in Abuja. Our correspondent Kayla Megwa reports.
In December of 2018, United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime said West, North and Central Africa jointly account for 87% of all pharmaceutical opiates seized globally. The ECOWAS permanent representative, in his opening remarks at this Interministerial Coordinating Committee meeting of ECOWAS member states and Mauritania, worries that the West African region has not only become a major consumer and source of illicit drugs, but a major transit route as the path of least resistance.
It therefore gladdens my heart to know that as a key deliverable of the implementation of ECOWAS Drug Action Plan, acceptable capacity now exists at the Commission with the recruitment of 5 technical staff with requisite knowledge and experience in drug prevention and control.
ECOWAS has a drug action plan which the member states committed to, and this 3-day event will see them evaluate the reports from member states on the status of its implementation.
Things are dynamic, so all the countries have to move quickly, and that is one thing that has not been happening, but we're hoping that all the countries will move quickly to put in laws which will help them achieve what we want in the end.
There's the question of appropriate policies, such as treatment instead of punishment for drug users.
There's no need to take a juvenile to a prison. You make him worse than what he has gone there for. And what we are trying, I've rightly said it, we realize that we don't have the treatment and the rehabilitation facilities to address this need.
One thing is clear after today's meeting. Despite concerted efforts from ECOWAS member countries to stem the tide of drug abuse and trafficking in the West African region, there's still a significant rise in the menace. What can West African countries do differently? The next 3 days will be very instrumental in that regard because African countries, especially from the West African sub-region, will be taking a look at policies that have been enacted in the last 10 years to stem the tide and see if those policies are in tandem with today's realities. Kayla Megwa, Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, military evacuates residents of Jakana to IDP camp in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, following operations by troops to flush out insurgents in the area. That's in a moment. Do stay with us.